Welcome back to Around the Block. My name is Justin. I'm the recruiting manager here at the Nickley Group, and I'm joined today with one of our top agents, Tristan Houser. Hey, Tristan.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on today. I'm really excited for you to join us for a few reasons. One, I feel like anytime you're in the room, your energy is just the best. But two, I'm excited because when we started talking about the show, what we wanted to do was utilize the stories and experiences of the people on our team to help, share and provide insight to other agents in the community or just, Orlando locals or, there'll be buyers and sellers checking into this. And I feel like you're somebody who you have accomplished a lot in your early career, the early part of your career so far, and you have a ton of information to share. And you're so fun when you do it. So I'm excited. Thanks for joining us. For anybody who may not know you, Tristan is a mom to a 1-year-old golden doodle named Reese, who I love. You're a UCF grad. You were recently named one of the top 35 under 35 agents here in Central Florida, which is a huge accomplishment. And just overall, like you're killing it. You're crushing it in your business and your career. So congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I figured for our conversation today, maybe the best place to start is let's start at the beginning. Not the beginning of your life, but maybe the beginning of your career. Like obviously, a lot of people have a different motivation that leads them into real estate. So maybe share with us a little bit about what's yours. Why did you decide to go get your license and start building your business as an agent here in Central Florida?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. I graduated from UCF in 2020 during the pandemic. I was studying law and I did not want to go to law school online. I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea. And I was working a little sales boutique job at the time and I really loved it. And I had a little knack for it and just seeing people happy with the little things they purchased that made me happy. And I just loved interacting with people. My boss there was super awesome. She's like, I'll be flexible with you. If you want to get your license, your real estate license at the same time you're working the boutique, like go right ahead. So that's how it started. And then it was actually really awesome. I was interviewing with Keller Williams teams all over because I had no idea what I wanted. I had no idea what I was doing. I was 21 years old. And I met this recruiter at a Keller Williams in Oviedo. And I had told him, like, I really want to do this real estate thing, but I cannot commit to being an agent full time. Like, I'm so young. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't lived here my whole life. Like, what do I do? So he was like, you know what? I have a team here in Oviedo for you. You can be an assistant for them and then see if you like it. So I took that position. Yeah. I ended up working with the top team in Oviedo as their assistant and listing manager. They were really, really awesome. They taught me so much, and seeing them and everything they could do. Eventually over time, I was like, no, I am ready for this. I do want to commit. It was just a little far for me. It was like a 30-minute drive every day. So I was like, okay, I want to be local to where I live. I want to be downtown. This is, my home for the last 4 years I've lived downtown. So I just thought, let me go to Keller Williams at the Parks, which is my brokerage now and the Nickley Group's brokerage. And I walked in there with resumes in my hand, old school style. I handed them to every single team in there. I interviewed with a lot of the teams. I think I interviewed with like 6, 7, 8 teams. I really got my fill. And then I found the Nickley Group, and that was just, I had done the research. I had seen what all these other teams had and what they provided, and they're all great in their own way, but I think for what I personally wanted to do and for the amount of transactions and the volume and in general the culture, all the great things about this team, it was really a good fit. So I ended up going with the Nickley Group.
And I'm glad you did. That's awesome. I mean, that's a really cool journey. Like, obviously you were working, you graduated, and then you started working towards your license while maintaining your other job. Got some experience as an assistant, which is probably like invaluable,
100%.
Just for, like you said, you were super young, didn't know a lot about real estate. You just graduated college. Like, what do I do? And so that was probably a great experience. And then now you're like light years ahead of most other 24-year-olds, which I think is 25-year-olds. Wow.
I just turned 25.
Oh, you just had a birthday recently.
I just had a birthday, so
That's
I'm 25
awesome.
now. But yeah, as an agent, as an assistant, I started at like 21, 22, and as an agent, I started at 23. So
That's crazy.
it was crazy, and this was never the plan.
Well, so one of the things that you talked about that I think is a really cool segue is you mentioned, when you were kind of taking stock of what you wanted your career to look like, what you wanted your business to look like, the volume and transactions and the goals that you had. Obviously we got connected, you plugged in with our team, and obviously it was amazing. I want to talk a little bit about that, because you have thus far, in 2 years as an agent, you've closed 15 million in volume. You've had 36 transactions. I mean, that's a really great production from someone brand new in your business. A lot of real estate agents, it takes them 6 to 8 months to close their first deal. Usually it's between 8 and 10 deals a year is the typical average for a real estate agent. And you're obviously blowing that out of the water early on. So talk to me a little bit about that experience. Like, obviously you didn't come in day one and start selling houses. There's growth towards that. Real estate is a business that takes time to build and grow. And, what was your experience like? Did you, just connect with someone who was ready to buy on your first day? Or what was that journey like?
I wish.
That would be
I wish
awesome.
it was that simple. I feel like a lot of the time, especially with social media nowadays, like people think you can just like get your license, sell a house. It's so easy and so simple. I wish it was that simple because I think like obviously everyone would be doing it and it's a really great job. It's super fun. So I wish it was that simple, but it was hard. It was a really hard time for me. Like honestly, really character building 100% because I went from having a steady job where I'm getting paid bi-weekly and, you have that security to I'm free falling. I have a job. Yes, of course. I have a career, but I'm not making money until I sell a house. So, I mean, in your head, like Justin said, typically it takes an agent 6 to 12 months. And so for me personally, it took me 5 months.
To sell your first home.
To sell my first house.
Wow.
It took me 5 months. And I remember like I was at the office every single day in, day out, making the calls, putting in the work, anything that you can do to get the business. And then eventually you meet the right people and things click and you take off.
That's crazy because really what that means is that you've been producing for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so that 36 transactions isn't over 24 months, it's over 18 months.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about that, like your habits. So the things that you're doing, you were in the office, you still are, like every single day, you're around, you're focused on your business. Talk a little bit about the time that you're spending. Like what are some of the things that you're doing to help build both during that like early, that 5 months where you weren't closing deals, but since then, like your business has continued to grow, it's maintained itself, like you've obviously put in the work there. What are some of the things that you've done to invest in your business?
Oh man. I feel like a lot of different things. I feel like being consistent, number one, like that's the most important with anything you do in life. Like the more consistent you are, the better things get for you. So I think the structure the Nickley Group has of like, be here every day, be here for call blocks. You have a whole room of people who are supporting you and have the same goals as you. I think social media has been a huge tool for me. I do get business from social media, not even like realtor posts, like cheesy things. I think it's more of just like putting my experiences and my story and my client stories out there and just like the human aspect of it.
For sure.
I appreciate when people post like that. So that's kind of what I post as well. So I've seen success from that. I think everything the team provides, we have a lot of opportunities that are exclusive to this team that you don't see everywhere else. I think really one of the biggest things was taking advantage of the opportunities I was given. I think that's the most important.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously you're doing that. So it's been really cool to see. So you talk about that, like some of your habits. Do you feel like there's anything else that has attributed to the success that you found? I know that you joke sometimes that you kind of like, I don't know how it's all happening, but like, we've had those conversations that it's happening because you're doing the work. You're showing up. You're, like you said, you're at call blocks, you're making the posts, you're connecting with people. Do you feel like there's anything else in the equation that, is helpful for someone when they're like in a spot like you were early on in your career where you're like, when, where am I going to close my first deal? Is there anything else that's kind of helped you in that growth process?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you asked that. I think the number one thing I was looking for when I joined a team would be the leadership, and having Tom, Alexis, Jeff available to me all the time, actually caring about my growth, sitting down with me for hours, coaching me, calling me late night. I'm calling them. I just feel like that was a game changer because, when you're doing it alone, it's really tough to be a solo agent. You have to do everything yourself. You don't have all the resources. If you have questions, yeah, you might go to your brokerage, but it's not like the hands-on experience of having like 3 awesome mentors. I feel like not everyone can say that. I have actually a really close relationship with all 3 of them. And so I think that was the biggest game changer because they would look at something I'm doing and they'd be like, why don't you do it this way? Or you could do this better. Or just like little things to tweak.
Yeah.
And then, once you have all those little things, it turns into big things. So I think having that leadership and that mentorship, 100% a game changer.
That's awesome. And I think that that's huge, whether it's real estate or like personal goals in life or a different industry, like having someone who's further along that journey, kind of like guiding you, giving you advice, like giving you, like you said, those tweaks, like, hey, like I've done this, like, why don't you try this? Because this usually works better, can be a total game changer.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Another thing that I'm curious about for you is, because I've just in knowing you for the last few years, hearing you talk about your support system. So obviously the leadership is a part of that support system that you just mentioned. Who else like is a part of that, like backing you, and what roles they play in helping you along in your journey?
Yeah. So at my last brokerage in Oviedo, I feel like I'm so lucky because not only do I have 3 mentors on this team, I have 2 mentors from my old brokerage. So I feel like having them, I still meet with them often, and they share their business tips with me. I share what we're doing here. So that's been really awesome. My amazing partner, Austin, he has been a rock for me 100% because like you said, those first 5 months, like you are not making money. Like, I saved up to do this. I had planned, of course, but like things happen and like, you're like, oh shoot, like I'm running low or whatever it may be. And just, he was an angel, like every step of the way. He always supported me and helped me and sometimes helped me financially too. So I think having him as my rock 100%, same with my family. I would call my mom like every day and be like, Mom, like, I don't know if I'm going to be right for this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, is this going to work out for me? Is this what I'm meant to do? And there was never, I think this is one of my favorite things about my mom is there was never a moment where she doubted me or said, maybe you should get a side job or, oh, like, maybe this isn't for you. There was never, ever any doubt in her. And that like warms my heart. Same with my boyfriend, of course. But yeah, just having that support of everyone around you is just like, there was not a single doubt. And that again was a game changer for me because I don't know. I think not everyone is so lucky to have every single in your corner saying like, no, this is meant for you. Like, go for it. Don't quit. Don't give up. I don't know if I would be here today without all of that support.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm glad that you've had that. Do you feel like there were moments where you were doubting yourself and they were the whole time being like, nope, like this is you, this is right? Do you feel like that was a part of the journey?
Oh my God, yeah, 100%. Like that was, yeah, majority of the time, like that is how I felt, especially those like your first 3 months. It's like, okay, I'm training, I'm learning the ropes and like, we have really extensive training here. So at first it was like, okay, like I'm just learning, it's fine. But then you get to your 4th month. And then you get to your 5th month and you're done with training and you're like, oh no, I need to sell a house. Like you're freaking out a little bit. So I feel like, yeah, they never doubted me, even when I doubted myself. And at the end there, like when I was going on that 5th month, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And I just held on.
What was the first feeling you remember feeling after you got the first deal under contract?
Oh man, it was a whirlwind after that. Like I feel like the first, I think for all the agents out there, the first one is the absolute hardest. Like your first deal, you know what you're doing because you have the training and all of those things. It's not that you're like incompetent, but it's more of the fact that like just to even get that first client.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, to like have someone buy that first home with you. That's the hard part. And so after that, it was a whirlwind. It was like one after another, after another, after another. So I think just getting that first deal and helping that first family, and then just keeping in mind like how much I love that feeling. Like they were so happy, and I knew it was like their dream house, and it was just one of the best. It was one of the best feelings in the world. And then I just wanted to do it over and over and over and over again. And then now I'm here.
To replicate that experience. That's one of my favorite parts about being, in real estate, is like hearing agent stories of their clients. Like this client, they fell in love with this home. Here's their story. Like here's what they were going through, and this is what the house meant to them. Like I love those stories, and I know that you do too. Like you really value each of your clients. Like they're the most important in the world, which I think is amazing, and obviously has helped your business grow, which is like a byproduct of that, of being able to help people. But I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
What advice would you have? Obviously, there's probably a whole book of things that you've learned in your first 2 years in real estate. But, if there was someone new starting out, or maybe they're already in that like first 4, 5, 6 month period and they're struggling, like they're feeling the same feeling you felt, they're having those challenges, or they're thinking about getting into real estate and they want to like, kind of map it out and know everything they can. What are like a couple of key things that you would tell someone in that situation that they should know to help them, whether it's like mentally or with their business or like whatever? What would your advice be?
Oh, that's a good one. I think that for people starting in the business, I would tell them just keep going. Like I said, it's very hard at first, and that can be expected when you're in sales. Like it doesn't just happen overnight. So I think keeping going is definitely a big one. I think for me, about real estate in general, I think that my number one thing is my clients. So I feel like just remembering like why I do this and why this career is right for me, and just like I've always wanted to help people, no matter, like that has been when I went to school, even other careers I've had or things I've thought of doing, the end goal was always to help people. So I feel like every time that like you have a doubt or you're nervous that that's not going to work out or whatever that may be, just remember like the end goal of like, I don't do this to sell houses. Like anyone can sell a house. Like anyone can open a door for you. Like I just remember that, I'm not here to sell you a house. I'm here to help you with one of the biggest accomplishments in life, one of the biggest decisions you can make in life. And the client really does come first to me, and just seeing them happy and smiling and, accomplishing something so big, like that's why I do it. The money is a byproduct. Really, it's about the people.
That's awesome. Anything else? Like, is there anything? I feel like if I could,
so many things you could
if I could extract all of the info from your brain and like compile it into a book, I would totally do that.
Oh man, I think believing in yourself too. I think that I know I'm not the only person that struggles with that, and I think that was my biggest struggle. It's something I've talked about with you, my mentors. I think that if this is something that you're serious about and this is what you really want to do, like you got to be delusional. You got to you have to believe in yourself. Yeah. You have to, because no one's going to, well, yeah, actually people will do that for you if you're with the right people, but what's most important is that you believe that this is going to happen. This is the right path for you. And I think with any career to be fulfilled, like it has to feel like the right thing. It has to feel good. And so I think just
cool. No, I think that's great. Last thing, just because I'm curious, and you may not have any insight into this, but like obviously you've got a long career ahead of you, but when you look at the next year or 2 years, obviously let's say 2 years, because that would be double the time that you've put into real estate now. What are your do you have goals, things that you're wanting to accomplish, things that you're looking for, like milestones that like you're shooting for? Obviously the last 2 years are behind you now because you just reached your 2-year mark with the team, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So now the next 2, like are there other markers and identifiers that you want to look back on at that point and say like, oh, I was able to accomplish all of this?
I think business-wise, I definitely want to help more families. Like, of course, that's the goal, that you just want to grow and grow and grow, and you're business every single year. So I think that's one of my main goals. But on a personal note, I'm actually buying my first house the end of the year. So it's really cool, actually. Every year I have a new goal. So my first year, my goal was to get Reese, my mini golden doodle. She's the love of my life. I love her. So that was my first goal, just to get a dog. And then this year, the goal was to buy a house. So we're getting ready to do that. Next year and the year after, I don't think I know what the future holds,
Sure.
but maybe some investment properties, maybe some more financial freedom, investments in general,
That's
all
awesome.
those kind of things. Yeah.
That's cool. I remember like when you were talking about Reese and then you got her. I just remember you like being so excited, and I have always thought back about like, oh, I wonder what Tristan is like planning for next. Like, what's the next thing that Tristan has
You'll
on her
never
radar?
know with me.
I know you never know, but I think it's awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share or say before we get out of here?
I think follow your heart. So cliche, follow your dreams. Find, if this is something you're interested in and you don't want to do it alone, like find a team that fits with your values and the culture. I think that's been so like great for me personally, to find all these people who I align with. And I think just stay positive. I think that's one of the most important things. Like, you can do whatever you set your mind to. I never would have thought 2 years ago, like I was literally at a little sales boutique job. Like, I never thought that I would be an agent selling, 20 plus homes a year. I never thought that would be it for me. So I think just believe in yourself and dream big.
That's awesome. Well, I'm really proud of you. Thanks for coming today. Thanks for being here. Join us again next week and every week after that. We're going to continue to have just different information, different people, share different stories. Some of it will be geared towards agents. Some of it will be geared towards like a buyer or a seller. Some of it will just be fun stuff that's geared towards Orlando locals. And we are excited to see you on the next episode of Around the Block.